Answer. Because you are that, you are capable, you are gifted, and you are soon to be opinionated. It's okay to be different, and it's so okay to just be you. The world awaits to receive you.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Let's get on the screen. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk, and you're here with your host, Grace Levi. Today, what we're going to do is follow up on a topic that we talked about a year and a half ago, the Tyre Nichols case, where we had 5 to 7 Memphis police officers, part of the goon squad, that attacked him, brutally beat him, and unalived him. And with that goes to say, we're going to do a short flashback and we're going to get into the trial because the trial is coming to closing arguments. But what we're going to do here is that we're going to look at each testimony one by one. And, I'm going to add my ad libs to it a little bit. I want you guys to be in the comment and let me know what you think. This was something that we knew was going to be in front of the public. Perfect timing because we already going through a lot in the transition of our new president and his feelings of what the police can do and cannot do, qualified immunity and all that stuff. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. But right now, what we're going to do is just do a short flashback of what happened to Tyre Nichols about a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Investigation. The police report from the night officers stopped and beat Nichols details a glaringly different account from what the police video shows.
Yeah, the questions over police transparency come as the family prepares to say their final goodbyes. ABC's Morgan Norwood joins us live. She's got more on the fallout as calls for police reform grow louder. Morgan.
Yeah, Joel, Amber, that fallout continues while authorities investigate whether more people should be charged in the beating of Tyre Nichols. The police report turned in hours after that, now being called into question. New questions surrounding the incident report that officers turned in after Tyre Nichols was beaten. The report obtained by ABC News tells the story of an irate suspect. The officer writing, detectives gave verbal commands to stop resisting, and then the suspect, Tyre Nichols, grabbed for Detective Martin's gun. But the video released last Friday doesn't show Nichols ever reaching for an officer's gun.
Put your hands behind your back, quick. Okay, stop.
The DA promising a thorough investigation.
We're just looking at everybody, even people that were filing reports afterwards. We're making sure that we have done a comprehensive investigation.
And the investigation thus far resulting in another 2 officers being relieved of duty, including white officer Preston Hempel, seen on his body camera footage deploying his taser at Nichols. Hempel has not been charged. Nichols' family questioning why Hempel wasn't identified until now, saying it certainly begs the question why the white officer involved in this brutal attack was shielded and protected from the public eye.
And we're going to be looking at his testimony next after this officer's testimony, one of the officers who actually facing charges and waiting for sentencing. But that was the question that I was wondering too. And when you hear that officer's testimony, you're going to question why he wasn't charged as well.
And to date, from sufficient discipline and accountability. Hempel's attorney says he is cooperating with the investigation. Memphis police telling ABC News it is protocol to immediately release names of officers fired, not relieved of duty. A total of 7 officers involved in Nichols' death have been relieved of duty, including 5 who have been fired and charged with murder. And 3 from the Memphis Fire Department have also been fired. As Tyre Nichols' family prepares to say their final goodbyes, renewed calls for police reform. President Biden saying it's time.
Do you still think George Floyd Act is the most reasonable legislation against a divided Congress?
I think we should do it right now.
So we're going to be looking at some of these testimonies, especially the testimony of the EMT and what they did and what they did not do. It's pretty alarming. So let's get it on the screen. I want to say thank you for being here with Grace today. We like to watch court cases, dig into it, see the right, the wrong, the craziness. And we want you guys to get in the comments. Please hit the like and share. We're trying to build our numbers up. Our goal is to get to 10,000 before the summer. So please hit the like button. And thank you for being here.
Sir, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, sir. All right, commence, teacher.
Let's start with your name,
Desmond Mills,
and can you spell it for the benefit of the court reporter?
DESMONDMILLS.
And Mr. Mills, first, you understand, or do you understand, that you are charged in this case in this
So
way?
this is Mr. Mills, Officer Mills, no longer Officer Mills. You're gonna hear some of the things that he talk about, why he respond, what their expectations is, and much more. Their expectations of behaviors as officers.
Yes.
That you were charged with murder, second degree, with aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, official misconduct, and official oppression.
Yes.
Are you also charged in federal court?
Yes.
Have you entered a guilty plea in federal court?
Yes.
Have you also entered into an agreement in state court which amounts to a guilty plea?
Yes.
Have you been told that your sentence will be set by a federal judge?
Yes.
And it will be set at a sentencing hearing in front of that federal judge in federal court. Is that correct?
Yes.
The charges that you have pled guilty to in federal court, the maximum sentences are life sentences. Is that correct?
Yes.
Hey there, want to learn how to trade but don't know where to start? I get it. Most trading courses cost a fortune.
Have you been told that your truth will be taken into the truthful testimony, that telling the truth will be taken into consideration at your federal sentencing?
Yes.
Are you hoping that by telling the truth, that will be taken into consideration in your federal sentencing?
Yes.
Have you been told that if you are truthful, that the federal government has put a cap on what they would ask the federal judge to sentence you to?
Yes.
And have you
He turned state on his people, trying to get a lower sentence.
been told that the highest number that the federal government will ask for you to be sentenced to is 15 years in federal prison?
Yes.
But have you also been told that ultimately it is the federal judge that will set your sentence and not the federal government, not those attorneys?
Yes.
Do you understand that the federal judge could give you life sentences?
Yes.
Do you understand the federal judge could also ignore the recommendation of 15 years and give you less than that?
Yes.
Theoretically, the federal judge could even give you supervised release
Yes.
or a prison sentence up to life in federal prison.
Yes.
Do you understand how important it is to tell the truth?
Yes.
Have you come here today to tell the truth?
Yes.
Let me pass you this document and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes. I do.
Is that also the agreement you have with the state prosecutors on your case?
Yes.
And have you signed that document
Yes.
along with your attorneys?
Yes.
We can have that introduced as a 6-6 number exhibit.
The memorandum of understanding, Mr. Mills, exhibit 4.
I published this to the jury by reading. Mr. Mills, listen, okay?
Okay.
This is a memorandum of understanding that's entered into by the parties, the state of Tennessee, the district attorney, and the defendant Desmond Mills, represented by his attorney Blake Ballard. This memorandum is intended as a binding agreement between the parties, and at the appropriate time will be filed with the court in this indictment 2300241. It will, consistent with the state's ethical obligations, be made known to co-defendants' counsels. Acceptance of responsibility and acknowledgement of conduct. Defendant Desmond Mills wishes to take responsibility for his role in the beating and death of Tyre Nichols, and fully acknowledges that his conduct and the conduct of his co-defendants was improper, excessive, and criminal. He acknowledges that Tyre Nichols was improperly beaten and restrained, and that he and his co-defendants then covered up their criminal conduct by, among other things, lying to first responders and to MPD personnel about the true nature of their contact with Tyre Nichols and the nature of his injuries. Defendant Mills acknowledges that these actions resulted in Tyre Nichols' death. Requirement to provide complete and honest testimony and cooperation. Defendant Mills agrees to cooperate and provide truthful testimony in any and all federal and state proceedings related to this matter or related investigations, including civil rights investigations by the United States Department of Justice. This extends to any interviews requested by federal or state prosecutors and investigators, as well as trial testimony. Defendant Mills must tell the truth at all times and not knowingly withhold any material information. Guilty plea and sentencing. Defendant Mills will enter guilty pleas in federal court to offenses charged in Federal Indictment 23 CR 20191/MSN, and when appropriate, will also enter guilty pleas in state court to offenses charged in Indictment 2300214. He will be sentenced in federal court first. The federal court judge will determine his sentence. After federal sentencing, he will enter guilty pleas in state court. Agreement by the state. The state of Tennessee agrees that upon fulfillment of the above conditions, that it will agree to a guilty plea that provides for a state sentence that will be served concurrent. Do you know what concurrent means?
Yes.
It means at the same time. Is that right?
Yes.
That we will agree to a state sentence that will be served concurrent with and will not exceed defendant Mills' federal sentence. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Furthermore, any period of incarceration shall be served in the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Yes.
So you have an agreement in federal court in which you have pled guilty. Okay.
Yes.
With a federal judge to set your sentence.
Yes.
A recommendation by the United States Attorney's Office not to ask for a sentence in excess of 15 years of incarceration.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
But a federal judge able to sentence you all the way from supervised release to life.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
You also have an agreement in state court. Tell the truth, and your state sentence will run at the same time as whatever federal sentence you get. Is that correct?
Correct.
And when you're sent to prison, that you will go to prison in a federal prison and not a state prison.
Yes.
You and I have met how many times?
Twice.
Only twice. Total amount of time we spent with each other?
Not an hour.
Less, you say not an hour?
Not an hour.
Not an hour. So less than an hour.
Yes.
Have I told you there's two most important things?
Yes.
I tell you it was to listen to me and for me to listen to you.
Yep.
And for you to do what?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. You understand that the agreement that you have in federal court, that the agreement you have in state court, that what a federal judge will take into account is whether or not you tell the truth.
Yes.
Tell us where you're from, Mr. Mills.
I'm from Connecticut.
And you're born in Connecticut?
Yes, I was born in Connecticut.
Parents from somewhere else, though?
Yes, my parents are from Jamaica.
When you say Jamaica, when you say some other words, we can hear it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So you have a little bit of a Jamaican accent with regard to some words.
Yes, I've been told that, yes.
Okay. Grew up in Connecticut?
Yes.
Did you go to high school?
Yes, I did.
Did you graduate high school?
Yes, I did.
All right, in Connecticut?
Yes.
All right, what did you do after that? Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at West Virginia State University.
What did you do in college?
I played football and I graduated.
Very good. What did you do after that?
And then I started my career in law enforcement. I was a correctional officer first. I was a correctional officer first, and then for about 3 years, and then so I moved to Tennessee and did corrections for about 2 years before I joined MPD.
What brought you to Tennessee?
Corrections at first. I was chasing a career in corrections, and I switched to police officer.
When you came to Tennessee, did you bring your family with you, or?
I got married, and then we started our family in Tennessee.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
3.
How old are they?
7, 5, 4.
Boys, girls?
2 girls, 1 boy.
After corrections, you joined the Memphis Police Department?
Yes, I did.
And how long were you with the Memphis Police Department?
6 years. 6 years.
Where all were you assigned in those 6 years?
Lanes Precinct, Ridgeway Precinct, and then OCU.
Most officers in the force are assigned to precincts, right?
Yeah, yes.
Riding around in cars, responding to 911 calls, traffic enforcement, all sorts of things.
Yes.
And then you went to OCU, which is the Organized Crime Unit, is that right?
Yes.
And that is more of a specialized group, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Organized Crime Unit is actually a large umbrella where there is device team, where there is drug enforcement teams, where there are fugitive apprehension teams. It's a large umbrella, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Where in particular in the Organized Crime Unit did you go?
To the Scorpion team.
Right, and what were the responsibilities of the Scorpion team?
And this is what I was wondering. Why were they doing traffic stops? And what made them hone in on Mr. Nichols, okay? And we're going to hear a little bit more about that.
We were sent to areas where high a lot of crime, violent crimes. They would they come from the top. That sent us there, and it's like a zero tolerance policy. They really wanted drugs, money, cars, and guns. That's what they want.
So rather than being assigned to a particular area like you are in a precinct, you're part of this team where you're sent to certain areas. Is that right?
Yes.
And these would be high crime areas?
Yes.
One night you could be in South Memphis?
Yes.
One night you could be in North Memphis?
Correct.
One night you could be in Hickory Hill or whatever it is?
Yes.
And your responsibilities on those nights, you said zero tolerance, is to saturate that neighborhood. Is that correct?
Correct.
Zero tolerance, does that mean making a lot of traffic stops? Or what does it mean?
I'm trying to think the best way to say it. Enforce all crime, misdemeanor or felony, I would say.
And what did that amount to in practice? So what were y'all, sort of doing on those nights? So say you're sent to South Memphis and told do a zero tolerance in South Memphis. What are you actually physically doing?
We're physically doing the Scorpion team. We would do traffic stops. That was the Scorpion team. That's what we did. Because the drug teams, they did their more investigations and they had informants and stuff like that. Our team, our office was a car, so we would make traffic stops and use the traffic stops to find family amount of drugs. That's what they wanted. And when you had a family amount of drugs, then you get to seize the car, and if they got money, seize the money as well. And then they wanted guns, because guns always looks good to take off the street.
And when you say they, do you mean leadership?
Yes, leadership.
So y'all are given a directive, go to a particular neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do zero tolerance. Is that correct?
Yes.
That means a lot of traffic stops.
Yes.
And the idea is seize drugs and guns and money.
Yes.
And stolen cars.
Yes.
Or cars.
Yeah, cars.
And how long were you with the Scorpion team?
So the Scorpion team focusing on traffic stops, looking for stolen cars and seizing guns and things like that. But their highlight was doing it through traffic stops. And a lot of these gang and task force units use that mechanism. And they call it zero tolerance, where they're just going to be just pulling people over, giving them tickets. Yeah, let's finish listening.
I'd say around COVID time.
So COVID, somewhere around 2020 or something. Had you been in the Scorpion team as much as 3 years?
I think so, around there. Possible.
So had you been on the Scorpion team for a good amount of time?
Yes.
On the Scorpion team, I'm going to say some names and tell me whether or not you know who these people are, okay?
Okay.
Emmett Martin.
Yes, I know that.
Was he on the Scorpion team with you?
Yes.
Demetrius Haley.
Yes.
Darius Bean.
Yes.
Justin Smith.
Yes.
Preston Hemphill.
Yes.
January 7th of 2023. Okay?
Okay.
Tell me about that night.
All right. I was working Scorpion unit, and me and Bean, we had someone under arrest for a traffic stop violation.
Let me interrupt you real quick. When you say Bean, do you mean Darius Bean?
Yes.
You see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point him out and tell me what he's wearing and where he's seated?
The navy blue suit, blue tie, blue shirt.
I think he nodded at you, but what seat is Mr. Bean in?
He's sitting beside Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith is in number one, in the seat number one.
Okay, so
Mr. Bean is number two.
Yes, number 2 seat.
All right, so you're with Mr. Bean.
Yes. We conducted a traffic stop. We had someone under arrest, and the suspect at the time was handcuffed in the backseat of my car. I was driving. Bean was driving alongside with me.
All right, so Mr. Bean, what area of town are you in?
We are in Ridgeway area.
Okay, tell this jury's not from Memphis. Okay.
Okay.
So is that downtown?
No, that's East Memphis.
East Memphis. And are you familiar with sort of a large neighborhood? Neighborhood's not the right word. Area of Memphis called Hickory Hill?
Yes.
Ridgeway is part of Hickory Hill?
Yes.
All right. And what are there businesses in Hickory Hill?
Yes, a lot of businesses.
And there's places to eat? correct? And there's also neighborhoods with residential houses.
Yes.
And is this the area that y'all have been sent to that night?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And he was handcuffed in the backseat of my car, and then right before me and Bean were about to search his vehicle, we heard on the radio an officer keyed up said they had one to resist. He's been pepper sprayed and tased, and now he's running.
All right, so someone has resisted,
yes.
Pepper sprayed and tased and run.
Yes.
Okay.
And naturally, when you hear that come across the radio as an officer, you're supposed to go and help your fellow officers because you don't know what's going on over there. So when we heard it, we released the guy we had. It was this minor offense, and we got into my car, and then we drove to the area where the location that they put out. And when we got over there, the stop was Ross and Reigns. Sheriff's office was Ross and Reigns. And
how far away from Ross and Reigns were y'all? Or how long did it take? I'm not really asking for, I don't care about distance.
It wasn't too far, maybe a mile and a half or too far.
Okay.
It wasn't too far. And we got there, they said that Mr. Nichols went southbound on Ross. So I turned down Ross, me and Bean, we started driving down Ross, took a first left, and it was a residential neighborhood. And we drove all around the neighborhood, and we didn't see Mr. Nichols. And when I pulled out to continue to go southbound on Ross, as I was driving, I just looked in my rearview mirror, and then I saw Mr. Nichols just appear right there in the road. And I said, Bean, I think that's him. I turned around, and I said, hey, what was the description of Mr. Nichols? He said it, and then we rolled the window down to talk to him. And as soon as he said, hey, Mr. Nichols took off running, and that's when Bean got in the car first. We started chasing him.
Would it be fair, interrupt you, would it be fair to say that whatever description you all were given of Mr. Nichols, did that person match that description?
Yes, and he was wiping his face. And he was wiping his face, I think with a shirt or something. And so Bean took off running. I got in the car. I started running. And I turned back because I forgot to lock the car. I locked the car, and then by the time I turned around, I didn't see Bean or Mr. Nichols no more. So I just started running, and then I seen when they went up another street. I don't know the name of that street. And then that's when I saw Bean again, Mr. Nichols, and I seen it was Smith car. And then there was some residents outside, and I asked them what's the name of the street because I didn't know where it was. They gave me the name of the street, and then I put it on dispatch, and then I ran up with the rest of the other, with Bean, Smith, and Mr. Nichols.
So put it on dispatch, meaning you said on the radio where y'all were at?
Yes. And then I ran up there, and I immediately pepper sprayed him.
Well, when you run up there, what do you see? Who's doing what?
I see Bean and Smith. They're holding Mr. Nichols.
Is Mr. Nichols standing up or is he on the ground?
He was on the ground. Okay. He was on the ground. And I pulled out the pepper spray and I sprayed again. And I sprayed him 2 times. It wasn't working. And the third time I tried.
Did you say it wasn't working or wasn't working? I couldn't hear you.
No, I sprayed and it just wasn't working.
Wasn't working?
Yeah, it wasn't working. And then I sprayed the third time, and the third time I sprayed myself. And then when I sprayed myself, I backed away from Mr. Nichols being Smith.
And we're going to hear about him spraying himself from the testimony of the other officer that's not charged. This is how reckless and out of control this whole thing was, okay? And allegedly he sprayed Nichols and Nichols didn't respond, but when you watch the video, it says something totally different.
I was trying to collect my thoughts, because when you get sprayed, you really can't see that. You can't see it.
Had you been sprayed directly in the eyes?
Yes, I sprayed myself directly in the eye. And I backed away. I was trying to collect myself, and then at that time it was Bean, Smith, and I believe Martin was there now.
And let me interrupt you because we did this with Mr. Bain. We need to do it with everybody. I think you've already identified him, but please tell me where Mr. Smith is seated in the courtroom.
Seat 1.
The record to reflect he's identified Justice Smith. Smith and Bean and Emmett Martin?
Yes.
So at this point, it is those 3.
Is
Mr. Nichols still on the ground?
Yes.
And you have sprayed yourself and you're attempting to collect yourself?
Yes. And I heard the officers kept saying, give me hands. And as I sprayed myself, I became angry and I used my baton. I pulled my baton out and I approached.
I'm talking to you right now in this courtroom.
So you see how he went over there. He said, I sprayed myself and then I got more angry. And then he started using his baton.
Seemed pretty mild man. How angry did you become?
I pulled the baton out. I sprayed myself, so I couldn't see, and it made me angry. And then I pulled the baton out and I approached Mr. Nichols and I told him, I said I was gonna effing baton you, and I told the officers who were in the way to move. I said move, and then I used the baton on Mr. Nichols 3 times on the right arm, and then I stopped. And
Now, had you been trained in the use of this baton?
yes.
Now, with regard just to the physical way in which you struck Mr. Nichols, just in regard to where you struck Mr. Nichols, was that consistent with your training?
Yes, it was.
Okay. As part of your training, were you trained when to use the baton and when not to?
Yes.
Are you supposed to use it because you're angry at somebody?
No.
You struck him 3 times where?
On his right arm?
Did he react to that?
No.
Physically, where is he at when you're striking him?
He had right arm was on the ground and left arm was up, and he kind of was like a knee in the ground, maybe I would say.
Okay, so sort of half up, half down?
Yes.
Were Bean and Smith still there with him?
I think it was Smith was holding his arm at that time.
Was Bean still there?
Yeah, he was in the area.
Now, when you had collected yourself, did you know that Emmett Martin had soccer kicked him to the head?
No.
Did you know that Emmett Martin had kicked him even a second time to the head?
No.
Did you know that when he soccer kicked him both times, that Bean and Smith were there holding down?
No, I didn't.
You see how he described it as a soccer kick. And this is why you're going to see what happens to Mr. Nichols when you hear the testimony of the medical examiner.
In the case that I watched the video.
And what video are you talking about?
The incident with Mr. Nichols.
I understand the incident, but which video?
The Sky Cop camera.
Sky Cop camera. Now, you had a body camera on, is that correct?
Yes.
And some of the others had body cameras on, is that correct? Or do you know?
We're all supposed to.
All supposed to?
Yes.
Some did.
I didn't hear it.
Some did. Some did have body cameras on?
Yeah, I think yes. I think we all.
The Sky Cop camera is something different, though, is that right?
Yes.
When did you find out that Sky Cop camera was up there on the pole? When did you find out that was there?
When I got back to the office that night.
Afterwards?
Yes, afterwards.
So you didn't know it was there at the time?
No.
And that's what we see a lot.
Tell us about after the 3 baton strikes.
After that, I stopped, and then the pepper spray just reactivated itself again until you went off, and I was just standing there, and then my eyes were shut, and I heard a thump sound, and I heard after the second one, that's when I peeked my eyes open, and I looked over, and I seen Martin was punching Mr. Nichols.
Did you see what Mr. Bean and Mr. Smith were doing?
They were just holding his hand on the arm.
Was Tyre standing?
Yes, he's standing at this point. Yes.
Was Mr. Bean on one hand and Mr. Smith on the other?
Yes.
And Mr. Martin was hit
Yes.
hard?
Yes. And after I peeked and looked, I was wondering, so why is he punching him? And then
Oh, them cops is mad at him. He done turned state talking about why they punching him. After you pepper spray him at least 2 to 3 times and then pepper sprayed yourself and had to run off, you say, why are they punching him? Oh, yeah, they're mad at you.
I didn't want to look no more because it didn't look good. And
You said don't look good, what do you mean?
the way how he was punching Mr. Nichols.
Looked like it wasn't right.
Correct.
Looked too graphic.
Looked like it could really hurt him.
Correct.
Had you heard Tyre make any threats to you?
No, I can't read. I don't recall no threats.
We heard you said something about, I'm going to F and baton you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you hear anybody else there make any threats?
No, I can't recall. No.
Did you ever hear anybody there say hit him?
When I watched the video, that's when I heard the hit him.
And we're going to watch the videos, so that's probably the appropriate time, I guess, for me to ask you about that.
Okay.
Mr. Martin's hit. Mr. Bean said that aside. What happens next?
I believe after I couldn't look no more, and then after that, I believe that's when he was taken into custody.
Now, you're not a small man. Would you agree with me?
I agree.
Is Mr. Martin bigger than you?
Just taller.
Just taller. He was the smallest person out there.
Officer or anybody?
Anybody.
Tyre.
Mr. Nichols?
Yep. Yep, and that's what I was saying. I have mentioned, why does it take so many officers to take one person down? What techniques are they actually teaching these officers to gain control of people? Because if they take a little bit of Taekwondo and learn some pressure points, they could take somebody down ASAP. I even know how to take a big person down without having to do a lot. There's some pressure points. But let's just listen, because I'm glad they're asking these questions. Who was the smallest person out there? And it was Tyre Nichols. It didn't make any sense.
Did you ever see Mr. Nichols throw a punch?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Nichols try to karate kick anybody?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Nichols produce a weapon?
No.
When you said that what you saw Mr. Martin doing with Mr. Bean and Mr. Smith at his side, when you said it was wrong, well, you're doing something wrong right then too, aren't you?
Snitch.
What's your duty as a police officer when you see something like that?
Stop it, Mr. Martin.
And to intervene.
You gotta try to stop it, don't
Well, he's snitching. No, he's snitching now, but his duty was to intervene. And that is not something you see happen a lot with officers, because once they intervene, you're going to hear again. He stated and other officers that they just like mandated to do stuff and they will get bullied. You're going to hear the other officer mention that, okay, when we get to that clip. So, yeah.
You take an oath to be a police officer, don't you?
Yes.
You understand that you have a duty to intervene.
Yes.
Even if that means intervening with your fellow officers when you see excessive force. Is that right?
Yes.
Each and every one of you officers out there had a duty to intervene, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you ever say, stop?
No.
Do you regret that?
Yes.
Did you ever try to get yourself in between Mr. Martin and Tyre and, whoa, we got this. We got this. We got this. You ever try to do that?
No.
Do you regret that?
Yes.
Did you ever see Mr. Bean or Mr. Smith? We got this. We got this. Stop.
No.
Did you ever see any of those officers out there do that?
No.
Instead, it just kept going.
Yes.
You said he was taken into custody. You meant that he was brought to the ground?
He had both handcuffs on.
At this point, a bunch of people on top of him?
No, I don't have to see the video again. I don't recall.
Okay, do you remember how many people were physically, taken into custody at that time?
No, I don't.
Did you ever physically touch Tyre Nichols?
Yes, I did.
When did you touch him?
When I used the baton.
I got that. So when you struck him with a baton 3 times, but did you ever handle him?
No.
Did you ever hold him up?
No.
Did you ever press him down on the ground?
No.
But you batoned him 3 times?
Yes.
After he is, I'm going to use your phrase, taken into custody, okay? Did you see Defendant Haley arrive?
I saw him arrive when I watched my camera.
Okay, so at the time you do not remember seeing Defendant Haley?
No.
Okay. But later when you watch your body-worn camera, you see Defendant Haley?
Yes.
We will watch it. At the appropriate time, I'll ask you about that. Okay.
Okay.
Now tell me what happens next.
So after he was taken custody, he was propped up against someone's car, tire, and then the fire department arrived, and they were there. They were doing what they do, someone, and then I remember I saw as they were there, Miss Nichols like slouched over to the ground, and I said, I yelled, "Hey!" I said, "Hey!" Like, look at him, and then I believe Smith said to the fire department, he said, "Bag him."
Does that mean something about like oxygen to him or something?
I don't know what it means. I just know Smith went through EMT or parents or something, but he did that. So I would say that Smith would know better what EMT paramedics should do than I would.
Gotcha.
Listen to that statement closely because he says that EMT said bag him, and we're going to watch what EMT did when the EMT gentleman that got fired testified. You're going to see what they did not do, and I don't think they bagged him at all.
While paramedics doing whatever they're doing, we'll figure it for ourselves. On the video, while he's on his doing, Smith saying whatever, are you telling these paramedics? And look at his head. He got hit a lot, really hard in his head.
No, I didn't tell the paramedics anything.
What happens?
Didn't tell them.
He's at the car on the ground.
And then the paramedics are now they're working on him, like they're doing their paramedic stuff with him, and find out he's going to be transported to the hospital. Our lieutenant made scene.
Is his name Dwayne Smith?
Yes.
Now, while this paramedic stuff is going on with Mr. Nichols, are you having conversations with these defendants, with Defendant Martin and with Defendant Smith and Defendant Bean and Defendant Taylor?
Yes.
What's the substance of those conversations?
I kept asking Martin what happened, like why you stopped him, and how do we get over here, how do we get to this, because I was in disbelief on how Miss Nichols looked. Normally, as a police officer, I respond if someone looks like that. I've never been part of something when someone looks like that. So I kept asking Martin over and over.
How to get to this?
Yes, how to get to this, why you stopped him, what they do, what he had. I kept asking him.
Well, you had part of the answer of how it got to this.
So we highlighting that it's Martin who initiated this altercation, okay? And at this point, this officer is allegedly kind of second guessing the whole interaction. But it's weird because he came with so much fire, so much fury, and then now within this situation, he's allegedly kind of like, okay, what's going on? This is a little bit too much. But you know what happens when it's time to get them football numbers.
This is your anger.
Yes.
At some point in these conversations, we'll watch it on the body cam, so I'm not going to ask you exactly what everybody said. Okay. But did some of these defendants make statements about hitting Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Did they make statements about everybody was rocking him or whatever?
Yes, I listened to the video tape.
Is there a point of video where we're going to see one of the defendants, will have you describe it when you see it, makes a motion about taking the body camera off?
Yes.
What is that about?
That was Martin. He was telling me to take the camera off because he wanted to tell me something so the camera wouldn't catch it.
And we'll be able to see that on the body cam, is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols is against this car. Y'all are having the conversations y'all are having. Is Mr. Nichols ultimately transported away?
Yes, he is.
Tell me about that.
We went to the hospital. Me and Bean went with him. Bean was riding in the ambulance and I was following behind. We got to the hospital.
When you were following the ambulance, were you aware of how critical Mr. Nichols' condition was?
Yes, I called Bean as we're driving, and he said they're performing CPR.
As in his heart stopped?
But if that's for CPR, yes.
Do you want Mr. Nichols to die?
No, I do not. I did not.
That'd be real bad. Is that right?
Correct.
You're following to the hospital, being drawn in the ambulance. What happens?
Get to the hospital. And then they bring him inside of one of the rooms, and doctors and nurses, they're working on him, and me and Bean was sitting outside the room.
Y'all actually go into the hospital?
Yes.
How long did you stay in the hospital?
We were there for a long time. I believe a long time ago.
Did y'all leave that night?
Yes.
When y'all left, was Mr. Nichols still alive?
Yes.
When you left, do you have conversations with Mr. Bean?
I don't think we said too much. We was riding the car, but we was.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You don't think you said too much? I was just riding the car.
It was quiet more so.
It was quiet.
Yeah.
It was stressing.
Probably pretty sobering.
We did something wrong.
Did you have a conversation that night with Mr. Haley?
Yes, I did.
How did that conversation happen?
When I was leaving the hospital, Mr. Haley kept calling the phone, and when I spoke with him, he asked me if I had seen him on my body camera doing anything.
Mr. Haley asked you if you could see your body cam and see whether or not Mr. Haley was doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that's why I watched it real quick to see where he's on there, and I told him I only see him running up on my body camera when I was walking away.
And
yeah, Mr. Haley, Officer Haley, already regretting. They regretted it right after they did it. It's so ridiculous. He's over there trying to figure out if he's on the body cam. Yes, you are. You on the sky cam too.
did Mr. Haley at that point make any statement to you about kicking Mr. Nichols?
No.
Could you see Mr. Haley on your body cam kick Mr. Nichols?
No.
When did you become aware that Mr. Haley kicked Mr. Nichols?
When I think it was at the internal affairs interview. Yeah.
Y'all have to speak with internal affairs, is that right?
Yes.
Y'all have to fill out forms about like what type of physical contact you had with Mr. Nichols, is that right?
Yes.
And y'all do those things that night?
Yes.
And that night, do you tell the truth and say, I batoned Mr. Nichols for no reason other than I was angry?
No.
Do you tell the truth and say, while Bean Smith stood at his arms, Mr. Martin punched him and punched him and punched him, I could hear the fuzz, and I thought this was wrong?
No.
Did you tell him that I, just like everybody else there, had a duty to intervene, but we didn't do it?
Yeah, but I'm to the lady. He didn't ask his question on what he said that night.
What did you tell him?
Well, the blue team's a form, like you said.
You call it blue team, is that right?
Yeah, so when you use of force, the form name is called blue team. And on the blue team, I put the use of force that I use. You put what you use, and I did what I did.
And you didn't put that other stuff?
No, I didn't put none, no, I didn't put what I saw.
Do you even make a comment at some point that this was all by the book?
Yes, I said that on the scene. My lieutenant made me rock.
And was that a truthful statement or an untruthful statement?
Untruthful statement.
Why would you make an untruthful statement about what y'all did that night?
It was just trying to, I knew it was a bad situation. I'm just trying to make it seem better.
He was just trying to cover it up. But you know what? I got to mention this again. It's not just teenagers who think that technology won't catch them. Did these officers think that was it gonna erase the body cam or alter it? I think what actually saved this situation was the sky cam. Honestly, I think what really got this out is the outside cameras that could not be altered.
Were you trying to get yourself out of trouble?
Yes.
Were you trying to keep your fellow police officers out of trouble?
Forcibly.
Did you know how bad it was yet?
I knew it was real bad when we was out there. I was praying for him when I was out there. I knew that.
Did you know they had that Skycop camera video yet?
No, not till I got back to the office.
We mentioned Mr. Haley a couple times. Can you point him out in the courtroom and tell us where he's seated?
Would that be C4?
C4, okay. So Mr. Smith, Mr. Dean, and then Mr. Haley, is that correct?
Yes.
The record could reflect that Lieutenant Tyre Nichols.
So reflected.
Or at some point, did you find out the TBI was investigating this matter?
Yes.
And were y'all asked to come have pictures taken of y'all that night?
Yes.
And we'll do these one by one. Tell me who is this?
This is me.
And is that what you're wearing that night?
Yes, it was.
All right, that could be marked to say so somebody said it.
Show the photo of Mr. Mills as exhibit E5.
There's nothing that obviously counsel is seeing these pictures. These are just pictures of them that night. If we could just go ahead and publish them while we go, Judge. You got marked to say so somebody exhibit.
We will show a picture of Mr. Dean as exhibit 6.
Martin.
And somebody exhibit.
Haley.
There's somebody exhibit. This is a set of 2 photographs. The second photograph is of this defendant's shoes. It's not alleged this defendant kicked the victim, but the shoes are very distinctive on the video and make it easy to follow this defendant on the video.
Guys, we'll stipulate those Justice Smith's shoes. Mr. Smith and his shoes as exhibit 9.
That was the officer who did not get charged, and you're going to see his testimony next because he straight was snitching.
Yes.
And what is that?
This is the traffic stop. Incident started. This is where it finished.
That's a map, is that right?
Yes.
And on it, you can see the location where there was a traffic stop, is that right?
Yes.
And is that Ross and Rains?
Yes.
That's where you drove in response to this call about a mannequin tased pepper spray.
Yes.
And you were directed to go a certain direction, is that right?
Yes.
And is that the neighborhood? And that neighborhood's pictured on the map, is that right?
Yes.
The location where this crime happened, is that correct?
Yes.
And then there's another house on that map. It's also on Castlegate, is that right?
Yes.
What is that house that's on Castlegate? What is that location?
Mr. Nichols' house.
Mr. Nichols' house. And did you have occasion to go to Mr. Nichols' house that night?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
When Lieutenant made the scene.
We heard that Mr. Nichols is against the car laying on the ground, is that right?
Yes.
There's paramedics, is that right?
Yes.
Y'all are discussing things with each other, is that right?
Yes.
Your lieutenant makes a scene eventually, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you and your lieutenant go anywhere briefly?
Yes.
Where do y'all go?
To Mr. Nichols' house.
And was it a short walk?
Yes.
And were y'all able to speak to anybody there?
Yes.
Was that Mr. Nichols' mom?
Yes.
Was it you or Mr. Lieutenant Smith was actually speaking with?
Lieutenant Smith.
Were you sort of hanging in the back of it?
Yes.
We can have that marked as next time.
I just have to say it. Mom didn't even know she was facing one of the killers of her son. And one of the most tragic parts about this situation that he literally was calling for his mom. And I know when his mom realized that it happened down the street, that had to really hurt her because she didn't hear him calling her. Wow, this is really, really deep.
No, I think we'll be able to show this on the projector.
Show the aerial photo as we did it 11.
All right, what area of town is this, Mr. Mills?
East Memphis.
All right, and this is East Memphis. We call the general sort of area Hickory Hill, is that right?
Yes.
And I guess it's obvious, but this is just for the record. Is this in Memphis, Tennessee?
Yes.
And in Shelby County, Tennessee?
Yes.
All these locations that we're talking about where the incident occurred are in Memphis and Shelby County, Tennessee?
Yes.
Ross and Rains. Is it these two fairly major streets?
Yes.
And what occurred at that location?
A traffic stop.
Okay. So this is initial traffic stop here. Let's ignore this for the time being. Location here says Castlegate and Bear Creek. Is that correct?
Yes.
What happens there?
That's when I became involved.
That's when you became involved?
Yes.
Is that the location where Mr. Nichols was?
Yes.
And then just shortly down from that is 6743 Castlegate Lane. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what's that location?
That's his house.
And that is a very short walk, it seems. Is that right?
Yes.
All of these locations, are they within less than a mile of each other?
Yes.
So we're talking short distances here.
Yes. Yes.
We skip for the time being, but let's. I have told you that there is a second pole camera in this neighborhood. Is that second skycop camera in this neighborhood? Is that correct?
Yes.
And it is here at 6705 Ross Ridge. We'll watch some quick pole cam video of that here in a minute. There's also a camera symbol where you said the incident occurred, where Mr. Nichols was beaten. That's because there's a skycop camera there. We'll watch obviously that video here shortly.
Thank God for those cameras. Double-edged sword.
We're going to start with one of the pre-emitted videos, Your Honor, the video of the traffic stop at Ross and Reagan's. Body cam videos do have sound, is that correct?
Yes.
But they don't have sound for the first minute or so.
Yes.
You see the hands there?
Yes.
So whose hands are those?
That's him too.
Okay. And you see the car there? Whose car is that?
Mr. Nichols' car.
Mr. Nichols' car. Can you tell who that is at Mr. Nichols' door there?
That's Martin.
Place him.
So you see Nichols get up and run. Now, we glad he didn't take him out right there at this point. But let's continue to watch to see how they made it from point A to point B.
LIENS and Ross. St. Joseph, Florida. Suspect is running down Ross.
They didn't even run nowhere. He out of breath. Come on, get it together. Bad.
Young male, black, slim build, blue jeans.
My job. They gave up, man.
Snap down Ross. Where the lights are.
Who's that?
Haley.
Haley, okay. Hempel's body cam, so Hempel talking to Haley, is that correct?
Yes.
And we're not gonna rewind. If we go back to sort of the chaos that we saw, could you hear Haley's voice?
Yes, I can.
Okay, could you hear Martin's voice?
Yes.
And could you hear Penfield's voice?
Yes.
And the man on the ground, was that Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
What are the prosecutor's actions? All right, car's right funny. Hang on. Where's your water?
This is just a disclaimer to the women who be letting their boyfriends use their car. I'm not saying this is the situation, but baby, they will leave that car. Okay, I know some stories, so y'all be careful. I just had to throw that little ad lib in. He done left the car. He was fighting for his life. So out of breath.
Okay, I got you. Get water, kid. Ready? Negative 29.38. Why my damn glasses?
Okay, so this is that officer getting his eyes cleaned out, okay? Because he tried to spray Nichols, and he sprayed himself. And this is what got them mad. He was peed because of his mistake.
Who is that?
Haley.
You say Haley?
Yes, Haley.
I can't see jack shit. My glasses, what are you, fighting me? Negative, we saw where that rocks. Yeah.
Smith.
That's Smith going after him.
Okay, I gotta find my glasses and get this damn taser. Now,
That was Smith. Yes.
Whose voice is that? You said?
Martin.
Okay.
we're gonna have to get you guys to pull my taser.
When people are talking like that and they say numbers at the start, what is that about?
The numbers are the officer's call number.
Okay.
So every number
has like a car number?
Yes, everyone's assigned a number.
All right, so you say whatever your car number is first, and you say what you're going to say?
Yes.
Is that how that works?
I
What's it?
don't remember.
You don't remember if that's what they did or not?
Yeah, I don't remember.
But if somebody wants to talk, if somebody's talking on the radio, they would say their car number so people would know who's talking.
He said call number.
Oh, I'm sorry, call number?
Yeah, you're talking about the numbers that they're calling. The numbers are assigned to officers.
I got you. Okay, so these numbers that we're hearing have to do with what type of call it is.
No, it's all right. So, all right, Lieutenant Smith, I heard him. He's 2901.
Okay. Okay.
So instead of saying Lieutenant Smith, you say 2901. That belongs to him.
Okay, that's his number. That's his number.
Yes.
Okay. I was saying car number, like it identifies you by your car, but everybody's identified by a number.
Yes.
Okay, so Lieutenant Smith has a number. Justin Smith has a number. You have a number.
Yes.
And what's your number out there?
I don't remember.
Thin metal black, blue jeans, and a plaid jacket.
Who was I talking to?
Martin.
You good right now? You good, guys?
Who is that? We could hear on the radio.
That was me.
That's you.
Yes.
And where are you saying on the radio there?
Southbound on Ross.
Okay, is this after y'all found him?
Yes.
Who's that?
That's me.
Martin and all them are really chasing him. Shit, he's me too, but luckily he can get my eyes on my eyebrow. Oh, let's stop his ass.
So I hope they stop his ass.
Hemphill.
I hope they stop his ass. They was going for other cars. They see the Martin chasing him.
Does Hemphill ever come to the second scene where Mr. Nichols is beat to death?
No, not while I was there.
Who is this leaving?
I didn't hear.
Who is this leaving?
Haley.
Whose voice is that?
I don't know.
They don't even have no tables, like like in the YSL trial where they had tables they could write down key stuff. They just watching it like a movie. That's really the ball here in between the two officers.
How was everything? Easy, you guys. You're able to bring the suspect up here. Yeah, we were fighting the dude. I tased him and then we fight. Okay. I think they're fixing to bring him over here because they're further down there and we took off running. I mean, you know what I know. Did you know? Bro, you got to. But you only got sprayed. Yeah. Or was it for the patient? It was for the suspect. Now, okay, like, you didn't out. We were on the ground, and I thought I sprayed him. This is sprayed all of us.
So the first thing that they addressed was them getting sprayed, and he like, you called us for y'all or for the suspect?
So they took the patient away right away. He took out front of the guy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, y'all need those or what? Well, one of the problems did get them. I don't know if you guys need to take it out, look at it, help you them seal out. Yeah.
And we're going to see testimony from this EMT worker in the next few broadcasts, and we're going to go into that in detail.
I can see who it is. Yeah, they got it down there. I thought it was a pepper spray. Me and I take blue. When I did it, this time I got you, or they bring it back down here. Bring it down here. All right. Yeah, just go down. Come street. You should see.
Whose voice was that? Just going down here.
So they're at the first scene, and I think it was for the officer, but then they said, "Hey, come down here." This is probably going to the second scene.
Or, sound like Smith.
We're at a fairly natural stopping place, Judge, but we can do one thing first. We can back this video up, take off the full screen, because I'm told this maybe the full screen is distorting it, and just watch the first 2 minutes, just traffic stop, smaller for reversion.
I was going to say, before we do that, just for the record, when we don't watch the entire video, if we could put on the timestamp that it was stopped, I believe it was 2039, either 07 or 17.
We're making note of those times, and we'll include that in the ultimate exhibit list of the jury. So we're not going to watch this whole thing, just the stop and smaller version, because we think that TV is distorting it and it goes full screen.
Do you want to just fast forward to the part to see if the smaller range is going to fix the distortion?
We're real close, Judge, just right here.
Chaotic. It's so many of them. They so chaotic that Tyre Nichols was able to slip out of their cuffs, even like out of their clutches, even being on the floor. That's why I know these officers are not trained in not only de-escalation, but just apprehending people. How is so many of y'all and he still slithered out of your clutches?
We'll just make a note that we play that portion of the video. Just for the record. Next video will be the full cam that we haven't seen from the video.
Now we get to see it from the camera. Sky King.
I told my technical team it's probably the laptop and they have a different one to use. I think maybe we'll watch this video real quick and then maybe we can switch out, take a quick break. Do something. Mr. Mills, I told you there was actually a second pole cam in this neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yes.
6705 Ross Ridge in this neighborhood.
Yes.
Oh, they go Tyre Nichols over here with people. I would just leave in the bushes.
All right, now we're going to let you another time through, and I'll point out something to you. Dr. Mills. We're going to look in this area here. You're going to see a person. It appears to be Tyre Nichols.
He was cutting through houses, backyard.
That does not appear to be a police car, does it?
No.
Cars. This does appear to be a police car, doesn't it? Or could you tell?
I can't tell. I see the tail lights.
The individual is crouched down sort of between two cars.
Yes.
And they just lost away.
Yes.
Did you drive down the street?
Yes.
Could that have even been your car, that second car?
Possibly.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Yeah, I can't tell.
If you were driving down the street, did you see Tyre Nichols over there in the yard or crouching down between those cars?
No.
We can have a break, Your Honor, switch laptops, and hopefully have better quality when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're going to take a brief recess. You can leave your notebooks in your chairs and continue now.
Who is this officer walking up?
Martin.
Were you able to see that kick to the head where you were?
When I was there?
When you were there?
No.
Where are you in this right now?
I'm far. I'm on the other side of that car, far away. Not far.
Sort of off stage, right?
Yes.
That was bad.
Were you able to see that second kick from the head from where you were that day?
No.
So that's how they do? That's how you help take somebody down, kicking them in the head? They couldn't even get this man down. That's ridiculous.
Going in order, it's Martin, Bean, and Smith. So
Yes.
who's that?
That's me.
You see a few seconds. We see you go like this.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I just opened my baton.
Okay, this is one of those collapsible type batons.
Yes.
So you go like this, it extends.
Yes.
This is a
Can you
clear.
stop here. Can you tell here?
I'm just going to say this is not an arrest. This is a clear beating and a jumping. This is not accosting an arrest. There are many things that they could have did. It's too many of them. No one went to grab his legs. Nothing. This wasn't an arrest. This was literally a beat down.
Martin's back to us. Is that correct?
Yes.
On the far right, is that Smith?
Yes.
In the middle, Bean.
Yes.
Far left, you.
Yes.
And Mr. Nichols, like you said, half on the ground.
Yes.
Jeez.
Just over here. You're back to us. Is that correct?
Yes.
Left with the shoes is Smith.
Yes.
On Tyre's left side.
I can't see Tyree's left side, but I can see right here, left
Okay,
of me.
you can see Smith.
Yes.
On the right, Bean. Is that correct? We can play a little more.
Yes, please. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so left side of Tyre Smith, right side Bean, and we stopped this mid punch by Evan Martin. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh. I'm sorry, y'all. This is bad. They should be in jail for capital murder.
You had exited again to the right, is that right?
Yes.
Where Martin and Smith and Bean?
They're still with Nichols.
He was already in handcuffs. All of this is really unnecessary.
Was this man running in?
I don't know.
Kicked him
You
again.
had just kicked him, could you tell?
That was a little blurred with Haley.
Okay. We'll see some body cams later, so if you can't tell who the first kick or the second kick was from, you can just say that.
Okay.
So we saw one man run in and kick him.
Yes.
Could you tell who that was?
That was Haley.
Okay. And we saw another man kick him after Haley did. Could you tell who that was?
Martin.
This is brutal. Do y'all think our officers deserve qualified immunity for stuff like this? Terrible.
Who's this dragging him over the car?
Smith. Yeah, Smith.
That cop walking all broke like he done had it. He walking broke like he got beat up. Now they're plotting and planning, trying to figure out how they're gonna do this. How they gonna get away with this? What's going on right here? This is what it looks like. No arrest. Not putting him in the car. Not the ambulance not there yet. This is when they're coming up with the plan. Imagine being swarmed by officers like that in handcuffs after they was just holding you and beating you. Like, just, he was in handcuffs, and obviously you saw them continue just to punch him. Wow, in circles.
See this person with his phone out?
Yes.
Who's that?
That's Haley.
Should become aware of that Haley took a picture of Tyre Nichols with his phone when he was propped up against that car.
And
Yes, I was aware.
Did you become aware of that?
Yeah.
Did you also become aware that he sent it to people?
And I want you guys to be aware officers do this. So this officer took a picture, and this is the same thing that happened allegedly in the Alexis case, where an officer allegedly took a picture of her body and transcribed it and sent it amongst officers, just like in this case, allegedly.
Yes, found out later.
We'll stop this here at 2040-38. And we are going to watch next your body cam, Detective Mills. We're going to go through that period where the sound doesn't turn on for a minute.
Yes.
He didn't even know how to use this pepper spray. This please mind that this is very graphic, y'all, okay? Yeah.
You're the one spraying, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody.
You sprayed yourself at this point?
Yes.
What did we just see right there? Did you see that?
No. You rewind it? Oh.
Yeah, we rewind it before. Rewind just a bit.
He's on the ground already. Nobody's trying to look. They just like stay there and get sprayed. No one's trying to hold his arm to pull him back right now. They just like stay there and get sprayed.
What was that? The second Martin took off his body and threw on the ground.
Like could be a body worn camera.
Okay.
Could be.
And one of the officers slammed their body cam on the ground because they were so mad.
Look at yourself here for a second.
And I want y'all to know, when y'all hear all this, give me your hands, that is all an act. That is all stage play for their cameras. Most times they're not even going for the person's hands, or the person is not resisting. They just yell at. Stop resisting, give me your hands. And it's not even the case. I know y'all seen that in a lot of different arrests.
You said, so I don't want to misquote, but something to the effect of, or did you say?
Your Honor, out of the rule of completeness, I'm going to ask that, but because at this point, the narration, we need to approach out because it's going to be a slight speaking objection, but the video needs to play, and then he can come back and ask his questions. Is how it's normally done. And right now, I would ask the court to allow him, to allow it to play to a certain point, and then come back, because it's not giving the video the weight what it should be given, or the effect of what it should be.
Well, I mean, with regard to the video, I mean, it's being admitted in evidence. So if you're wanting to play the video in its entirety during your cross-examination, then I'll allow you to do so. But during the direct examination, I'll allow him to ask questions that he wants to direct on.
Yes, sir. Maybe approach on something I'd like to bring to the court's attention.
All right, just briefly, Your Honor.
Me?
This is when you're gonna hit him with the baton for nothing because he just got mad. They're just letting him get beat.
What was that?
It's more than one. But
Okay. His voice was hit him.
Can you replay it?
Exactly what I addressed. That's inappropriate.
I mean, objection. If he knows who's saying.
Does Mr. Hagerman know or the witness? Because
Well,
Mr. Hagerman can just testify.
Well, then I guess the question is, or the objection to a leading question, or is it objection to what?
Objection, leading, suggesting an answer.
As to who?
So you can ask if he has knowledge of who made the statement. He says that he has knowledge of who made the statement.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the records will reflect that Alvin's Hagerman's mouth can't work any. That's what my objection is to.
All right, if you can rephrase your question.
We can rewind it. Yeah, my question is, who says that?
Okay.
So who said that?
Sound like, I would say Martin and Smith.
That give me your hands praises is pretty getting worn out to me, but I'm gonna keep playing. This when they got him in handcuffs already. You see it.
Who said the location?
That was me.
Yes. Let me get my car with.
It's wrong on so many levels.
You all right?
He's so confused. He went the wrong way. And this is after he, I think after he pepper sprayed himself. Maybe.
Do you?
Let him, yeah. Take a picture. All of this was been violated.
Who's that talking?
Martin.
Where's the ambulance at all this time?
Who's that?
That's Bean.
There they go. And this is where we're going to pause at, because we want to watch what the ambulance do, what they don't do. And before we do that, we're going to look at the next officer's testimony. The officer that decided to snitch as well, Mr. Hemphill, okay? That's the Caucasian officer. So we're going to be doing that in the second part. Let's just see what happens as we finish off this part one of the Tyre Nichols murder trial. We're going to highlight the police testimony as well as the medical examiner testimony and other key testimonies. And then we're going to wrap up with the outcome.
Who's that?
Smith.
Who are those people attending to Mr. Nichols?
That's paramedics.
Who said that? Did you hear what that man said?
Can you rewind a little bit? What word do you want me?
Yeah.
And here is when the EMT asks for a little bit of information. And you remember in his original testimony, Officer Amal said basically he didn't tell them how many times Tyre Nichols was kicked in the head and assaulted. So what we're going to do is move on into the next officer's testimony so we can get a better look on what happened, as well as why this particular officer that's going to testify did not get charged. I do want to say thank you for being with me today. Please hit the like and share. We're going to be sharing more content like this. We're going to evaluate step by step. I'm going to try to condense the video so it won't be as long as the regular trial, so we can kind of just see the highlights. But with that goes to say, hit the like button, and we're here for it. Down. All right, let's get to part two of Tyre Nichols' case, the trial that's taking place right now. And what we're going to listen to is the second officer who was not charged in this incident, but we're going to get his testimony. And before we do that, we're going to just take a quick look at ex-cop seeking acquittal of obstruction charges of Tyre Nichols. Let's just play this real quick and put this on the screen.
This morning, 3 former Memphis police officers found guilty in the brutal beating of Tyre Nichols last year during a traffic stop.
We're just so very proud that all of them are going to jail today.
Former officers Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith were all convicted of witness tampering related to the cover-up of the beating, but Bean and Smith were acquitted of civil rights charges. Haley was acquitted of violating Nichols' civil rights causing death, but convicted of the lesser charge of violating his civil rights causing bodily injury. He was also convicted on a conspiracy to witness tamper charge that the others were acquitted of.
The jury found all of them in some way participated in a crime, and that Tyre Nichols' death won't go unaccounted for.
During the nearly month-long federal trial, 2 other officers taking the stand and testifying against their fellow squad members. Desmond Mills, seen here on police body camera video, along with Emmett Martin, had previously pled guilty to federal charges. Martin testified Nichols posed no threat when he was pulled over.
Damn, I didn't do anything.
The officers kicked, punched, tased, and pepper sprayed Nichols, who at one point begged for his life, crying out for his mother, who lived just 1 block away.
We wanted all 4, convictions on them, guilties, but we got the one, so it's good.
Sentencing is scheduled for January. The former officers face up to 20 to 30 years in prison. All 5 of them are also facing additional state charges, including second-degree murder. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Memphis, Tennessee.
And that is what we're watching right now. We're watching the case for second-degree murder on these officers. And as you see, they are snitching on each other. So let's get to this second part. And we're going to see the officer who was not charged, Mr. Let's make sure that I have his correct name, Mr. Hemphill. Okay, so let's get this on the screen. Thank you for being here with Grace Levi. If you like this type of content, going into cases in detail, watching it with a eagle's eye, and giving your commentary, this is the channel for you. Please hit the like button. Let's get started.
Jurors enter in the courtroom.
And just a heads up, I'll be popping in and out, and then we'll be, commentating on what's going on.
Y'all be seated. Ms. Hemphill, sir, you can come back around. Go ahead, stand up, raise your hand. So you solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you give today will be true and nothing but the truth to help you God? Yes, sir. Just have a seat. When we adjourned yesterday, we were in the middle of the cross-examination. You two officers, are you ready to proceed? Yes, sir.
Mr. Hemphill, I'm going to call your attention to a few things. One of the first things we're going to listen to are the dispatch radio recordings from the night in question. They've already been made, Your Honor, they've already been made, will be made part of a pledge of exhibit that the 2 officers are coordinating as we've been doing everything else. And for the record purposes, the entire audio is quite long, but I'm going to go to the 8-minute and 37-second mark, and I believe you as a witness will recognize what happened. Okay, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do it very similar to what we did yesterday as it relates to what you heard, etc. Okay?
All right.
Your Honor, I'm going to hit pause. I'm at 100%. We ran into the same situation as Stingle yesterday. We'll try again. Before we go much further, can you hear that, Mr. Hemphill?
No, sir.
Maybe that Ms. Tanisha help me. You can try a few more seconds, see if it gets better. The good news is we're not seeing anything, but were you able to hear that?
Very faintly, yes, sir.
All right, between the doors and the keys, and I'm going to do the best. If you can't hear something, you just tell us, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, proceed, John. First of all, whose voice was that?
It sounds to be like Officer Martin.
Is that recorded from the night of Tyre Nichols' arrest?
Yes, sir.
And you said it sounds like him and Martin?
Yes, sir.
When I 38, where it rained, they Ross. Hey, there was the floor. Let's take it front of them, Ross.
You recognize that voice?
Yes, sir.
Whose voice was it?
That was my voice.
You're 2938, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Young male black, slim build, blue jeans, and hoodie.
Sounds to me like you're right.
Out of breath.
We earlier saw your body cam in the attempted arrest of Tyre Nichols across the Range Road. Are these calls lined up at that time frame?
Yes, sir.
Is that why you're out of breath?
Yes, sir.
Southbound Ross. We lights off.
By the way, we've heard that a few times. What is the dispatcher asking you
She's asking what were the charges?
on the fleeing
Suspect, yes, sir.
And do you recall an answer ever being given by you or anyone else in the dispatcher?
No, sir, not that I recall.
No charge.
Do you know why? Do you know why you nor any of the officers announced to the dispatcher what the charges were? Slip your mind or what?
Yes, sir, just slipped my mind. I wasn't even listening to the radio. At that point, I was helping Haley.
Proceed again at 10 minutes and 29 seconds. Who was that?
It sounded like Officer Martin again.
And what did he ask you?
Asking if there were any other Scorpion units in the area.
And to what?
And to start heading to this area.
Now,
So our goal, but listening to this, is to figure out why he was not charged. So if you guys figure it out in the comments, I need you to get down there and let me know.
call goes out, you as a Scorpion team member or a police officer, what does that mean to you for you to do?
You need to get there if possible.
Well, if none of us are cops, you say if possible, what do you mean by if possible?
If you're not tied up on another call, if you're not in the middle of a traffic stop, you need to drop everything and head to that location.
What would happen if you decided, I'm not going on that call?
Realistically, other cops will start talking about you.
And this is what I brought up earlier in the broadcast. He admits that if you don't do what the status quo is, that other officers will start talking about you. Let's finish listening.
Possibly, yes, sir.
Back on at 10:36. Whose voice was that?
Sounded like Officer Justin Smith.
His number's 2931, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what was Justin Smith putting out on the dispatch?
That he was en route to that area to assist.
Back on 10:45. Did you recognize that voice?
It sounded like Officer Mills.
And is that Mills saying he's on his way as well?
He's asking the dispatch for the last four of the CAD for, I assume, on a previous stop, and then he's going to head that way.
Okay, you're using acronyms, things like that. CAD is
computer automated dispatch. Anytime something happens to where the police are called, it generates an event number so that everything is in numerical order for what happened during that day.
And does that allow the officer to look on the CAD, the computer in the car, to find out what's next to do?
Yes, sir.
Back on at 10:56.
Negative 2938.
You're 38, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What were you asked?
She was asking if I still had eyes on the suspect.
What was your response?
Negative.
Back on at 11:27. Do you recognize that voice?
It sounded like Officer Justin Smith.
What did Justin Smith ask?
Can we set up a perimeter?
What is a perimeter?
We know the location where the suspect was last seen. Can we get officers in that area to make sure that they're still somewhat in that neighborhood?
Back on at 11:40. I'm going to get paused there at 11:49. The dispatcher said something about a radio call, all Scorpion cars. What did she say?
Can all Scorpion cars head to that location and bring to Ross?
Did she use the word pull down?
Yes, sir.
What does pull down mean in cop language?
Pull down means you just pull over where your partners are to assist them.
It's an officer needing assistance. Go in.
Yes, sir.
Back on at 11:49. That's Justin again asking the same question, right?
Yes, sir.
Moving on at 11:59. What did the dispatcher tell Justin in his request for perimeter?
That there weren't any more cars.
All right. Going on at 12:03. Whose voice was that?
That sounded like Officer Martin.
The he that he's referring to is who?
Mr. Nichols.
Moving on at 12:23.
Negative, we can tell them right down, Ross.
That's you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're responding to Martin's call?
Yes, sir.
Who was 2933?
I believe that was Officer Martin.
And pursuant to policy, if a police officer uses one of his weapons, taser, spray, what are y'all supposed to do?
Yes. So per policy, we're supposed to alert a supervisor and call the fire department.
And that's what that call is about?
Yes, sir.
To inform dispatcher?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then if we're listening for your supervisor, that would be Lieutenant Wayne Smith, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And his number is 2901?
Yes, sir.
All right. Back on 13. All right. I heard dispatcher call at 2901, and then I heard someone say check. Was that Lieutenant Wayne Smith?
Yes, sir.
Because we're not police officers, and I'm just asking, is that Dwayne Smith saying, hey, I heard that transmission?
Yes, sir. In police language, the word check is just an easy way just to say okay.
Moving on at 1311. Whose voice was that?
Officer Justin Smith.
What's he telling dispatch to do?
To have the fire department head to that location based on the fact that he knows at least pepper spray was used.
I got a silly question. You have a lieutenant being paid to be the supervisor. He didn't make that call, did he? The lieutenant.
Not that I can hear, no, sir.
I assume that you're hearing everything. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Dispatch. Does dispatch know the policy and procedure of MPD that says if chemical spray is used to go ahead and roll fire department?
Yes, sir.
But that call appears to be Justin telling dispatcher to do it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on at 1323. Your voice.
I wasn't able to hear that voice.
Okay, we'll move on. Whose voice was that?
Sounded like Officer Justin Smith.
And is the he's referring to the suspect?
Yes, sir.
Is it I'm just asking for my own edification. Is it my imagination that I'm hearing the cops call outs much clearer and louder than I hear the dispatcher, or is it just because the dispatcher, to your knowledge, is just a low caller?
I'm saying with you, the cops are coming through more clearly and dispatch is a little more mumbled.
And did you find that to be common as a roaming out there that the dispatchers kind of quiet and mumble?
Yes, sir. There were times that we would have to tell dispatchers, hey, can you speak up or you're coming in muffled?
Okay. Moving on at 1415.
Like a camouflage jacket, like orange and red, and wild hair,
Whose voice was that describing the suspect?
It sounds to be Officer Martin.
Back on at 1440. Is that also Emmett Martin that we just heard?
Yes, sir.
Moving on, 1448.
When I do get off the read, that's what my taker.
And who was that?
That was my voice.
And what are you doing?
Just making sure again that the dispatcher knew that I used my taser.
Is that pursuant to policy?
Yes, sir.
Moving on at 1457.
So I'm still not seeing why he's not charged with anything. He did use his taser while it was over 3 or 4 police there, but we're going to keep moving and listening. Just trying to figure some things out.
What'd she say?
She told me that she does have it written down on her system that I use my taser and she does have the fire department route.
Moving at 1504. Just before I start. So at this point, Tyre Nichols has not been captured. Is that right?
I don't believe so, yes, sir.
You haven't heard it on the radio, have you?
No, sir.
Okay. So at this point, at least from the radio standpoint, Mr. Nichols has not been captured or spotted.
Right.
And yet, you, Justin, and who knows, maybe somebody else, have let dispatcher know to get medical over. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
The first one happened to be Justin Smith, but then you did it as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And the officers, it sounds like to me, have reported to their supervisor the pepper spray, the taser, and a fleeing suspect to the supervisor through the dispatch radio. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Back on at 1507. Whose voice was that?
Lieutenant Smith.
And what is Lieutenant Smith asking the dispatcher for?
Can she check to see if there's a canine officer available to help search the area?
Moving on. 1519. Whose voice is that?
Sounds to be Officer Martin.
And whose tag is he asking to be run?
Mr. Nichols.
Moving on. 1532.
I gave a tag on it up here. You can
Is that in there, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Back on 1549. That in there, Martin again?
Yes, sir.
And what is he asking the dispatcher for?
To run the tag, and can you get the address off of the tag?
Why is that helpful?
Because if the suspect lives near, they're possibly running to their house.
Doesn't that assume that the owner of that car is the one driving the car?
Yes, sir.
And at this point, did any officer out there know who was driving that car?
No, sir.
Moving on. 1603. Whose voice is that?
Sounds to be Officer Mills.
And what's he saying? What's he communicating?
That he has located the suspect southbound on Ross, and then he said we were at Ross and like close together street. No one able to hear that.
I would suggest he says Ross and Cascade, but the question I want to ask you is, you know Mills' voice pretty well, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Is he pretty quiet, pretty calm, pretty laid back?
Yes, sir.
Did he sound pretty calm, laid back in that radio call?
No, sir.
What's it sound like to you, knowing Mills and the way you talk?
That he is running after somebody and these other cars with him now.
Playing at 1632. What was that?
The dispatcher just repeating the address of Ross and Castlegate.
Is that for who to act upon?
Any officer that has a radio tuned into that frequency.
For which precinct?
Ridgeway Station.
And Ridgeway Station, is that a large precinct with several cars, several officers, what?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on, 1647. You know what that was?
I could hear all of it.
Who was speaking?
It was the dispatcher.
Did you hear an address?
All I heard was Castlegate.
Would it help if I rewind 10 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear about it that time?
Yes, sir.
There's an address on Cascade, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that the dispatch responding to the earlier call on running that tag?
Yes, sir.
You're sure of that?
Yes, sir.
Did he play at 1654? Whose voice was that?
Sounds like Officer Justin Smith.
How would you describe Justin Smith's voice in that radio call?
Distressed and currently fighting with somebody.
And what is he asking for?
He needs more cars with him now.
He needs assistance.
Yes, sir.
Did he play at 1712? That's at 1720-ish. That's the dispatcher speaking. And what is she telling officers in the Ridgeway precinct?
Is there anyone available to assist with officers with a suspect that's resisting and running?
Playing at 1724. By the way, you mentioned earlier that you're not really in the middle of anything, really doing a whole lot. You should go back on that call from the dispatch to the entire precinct. What are the officers being ordered to do?
To head to that location if you're not stuck on anything.
I don't want to take issue with stuck on anything. What do you mean by stuck on anything?
You're not stuck waiting on a tow truck to tow a car that broke down in the middle of the road. You're not still on a traffic stop trying to issue a ticket for speeding. If you're sitting in a parking lot waiting for a call, you need to head to this location now.
Well, I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. You're a police officer. If the dispatcher says all cars pull over to 6547 Castlegate, you're saying that if you happen to be waiting on a tow truck You can keep waiting on the tow truck, or you need to go give officers this.
Memphis PD would rather you wait for the tow truck. Other officers would pick up the slack.
Moving forward at 1727. Whose voice was that?
Sounded like Officer Justin Smith.
Wasn't quite as clear as before, was it?
No, sir.
Sound like he's actively engaged in something?
Yes, sir.
What's he doing?
He's still fighting with the suspect.
And sometimes, even if somebody makes a radio call out, you hear background noise. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear background noise on that call, or you want to hear it again?
Can I hear it again?
Sure. You actually heard two voices, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Is that the background noise I was talking about?
Yes, sir.
Did you make it out what the other person, the mystery person, was saying?
No, sir.
Hitting at 1825. How about that? Could you hear that a little bit better in the background?
Yes, sir.
What did the person say in the background?
Give me your hands.
What did he say?
Can I hear it one more time?
Sure.
Give me your motherfucking hands.
So the call is Justin's voice going out, but you hear something in the background saying, "Give me your motherfucking hands."
Yes, sir.
You have any idea whose voice that was?
It sounds like Officer Martin.
That's dispatch calling for Justin.
Yes, sir.
Is it because she wants to know his exact location?
Yes, sir.
Moving on at 1851. Whose voice was that?
I wasn't able to tell about that voice.
You want to try again or not? Move on.
We can try one more.
All right. Whose voice was that?
That was Officer Haley.
He's 2935.
Yes, sir.
Moving on at 1931. Whose voice was that?
Sounds like Officer Mills.
How's he sound?
Out of breath.
Moving on at 1936.
He is a waste of time. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna move forward to the
Mills again, what?
Yes, sir.
cross-examination because he's a little bit more excited.
Be sent off of the team because I wasn't producing stats. So he told me to ride with him in his car for a couple of days so he can help me get on track to doing what the Scorpion team needs to do.
He also gave you some advice about what officers to stay away from too, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Did you follow his advice?
Yes, sir.
May I have a moment with my client? John. By the way, we've heard that a few times. What is the dispatcher asking you
She's asking what were the charges.
on the plea?
Suspect, yes, sir.
And do you recall an answer ever being given by you or anyone else? Whose voice was that?
Lieutenant Smith.
And what is Lieutenant Smith asking the dispatcher for?
Can she check to see if there's a canine officer available to help search the area?
Moving on. 1519. Whose voice is that?
Sounds to be Officer Martin.
And whose tag is he asking to be run?
Mr. Nichols.
Moving on at 1532. Is that him and Martin?
Yes, sir.
Back on 1549. Is that him and Martin again?
Yes, sir.
And what is he asking the dispatcher for?
To run the tag and can you get the address off of the tag?
Why is that helpful?
Because if the suspect lives near, they're possibly running to their house.
Doesn't that assume that the owner of that car is the one driving the car?
Yes, sir.
At this point, did any officer out there know who was driving that car?
No, sir.
Moving on. 1603.
Stop sign on road.
His voice was that.
Sounds to be Officer Mills.
And what's he saying? What's he communicating?
That he has located the suspect southbound on Ross, and then he said we're at Ross. Like, let's get the street. No one ever hear that.
I would suggest he says Ross and Cascade, but the question I want to ask you is, you know Mills' voice pretty well, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Is he pretty quiet, pretty calm, pretty laid back?
Yes, sir.
Did he sound pretty calm, laid back in that radio call?
No, sir.
What's it sound like to you, knowing Mills and the way he talked?
That he is running after somebody and needs other cars with him now.
Playing at 1632. What was that?
The dispatcher just repeating the address of Ross and Castlegate.
Is that for who to act upon?
Any officer that has a radio tuned into that frequency.
For which precinct?
Ridgeway Station.
And Ridgeway Station, is that a large precinct, several cars, several officers, what?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on, 1647. You know what that was?
I could hear all of it.
Who was speaking?
It was the dispatcher.
Did you hear an address?
All I heard was Castlegate.
Would it help if I rewind it 10 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear about it that time?
Yes, sir.
There's an address on Cascade, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that the dispatch responding to the earlier call on running that tag?
Yes, sir.
You sure of that?
Yes, sir.
Did he play at 1654? Whose voice was that?
Sounds like Officer Justin Smith.
How would you describe Justin Smith's voice in that radio call?
Distressed and currently fighting with somebody.
What is he asking for?
He needs more cars with him now.
He needs assistance.
Yes, sir.
He play at 1712. That's at 1720-ish. That's the dispatcher speaking. And what is she telling officers in the Ridgeway precinct?
Is there anyone available to assist with officers with a suspect that's resisting and running?
Client at 1724. By the way, you mentioned earlier that if you're not really in the middle of anything, really doing a whole lot, you should go back on that call from dispatch to the entire precinct. What are the officers being ordered to do?
To head to that location if you're not stuck on anything.
I don't want to take issue with stuck on anything. What do you mean by stuck on anything?
You're not stuck waiting on a tow truck to tow a car that broke down in the middle of the road. You're not still on a traffic stop trying to issue a ticket for speeding. If you're sitting in a parking lot waiting for a call, you need to head to this location now.
Well, I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. You're a police officer. If dispatcher says all cars pull over to 6547 Castlegate, you're saying that you have to be waiting on a tow truck? You can keep waiting on the tow truck, or you don't need to go give officer assistance?
Memphis PD would rather you wait for the tow truck because other officers would pick up the slack.
Moving forward at 1727.
You thought you had something with that. No, it's not that serious. You got to stay in the middle of what you're doing, not go jump all over the place. Now,
We were 2214 when
very
the
important.
last police officer made that call.
This is a very important part coming up because it's talking about incentive. It's talking about the incentive of the police to make arrests and the pressure that it puts on them.
Moving forward.
We have to get the fire department to come down to you, or are you bringing it back down here?
All right. A little bit unusual to use a person's name on the radio, is that right?
No, sir.
Neil, whose voice was that speaking to you?
Justin Smith.
What was he telling you?
He was just telling me that the fire department needs to come to him.
He'd already told you once, right?
No, sir. That was the only one that I can recall when he answered.
Okay. But does Justin sound to you, based on your knowledge of his voice inflection, be a little bit put out?
Yes, sir.
He says, Hemphill just sitting down there. Just sitting down here to us. Is that what he said?
Yes, sir.
And did you follow that direction?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, what rank, not title, but what rank did you have at the Memphis Police Department?
Just regular officer.
Okay. And how's that work? Patrolman 1, Patrolman 2, how's that work?
So you have patrolman probation, then you have regular patrolman, and at the time it was sergeant, lieutenant, and honor.
We'll stop at sergeant. Okay, so it's probationary, or what do you call it? Patrolman, and then sergeant. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Justin Smith's rank at the time of this incident is what? Same as you?
Yes, sir.
Patrolman.
Yes, sir.
You're that way now? All right. That was you?
Yes, sir.
Same what?
That I'm sending the fire department that way now.
You have testified in numerous environments. Tennessee District Attorney's Office. You have given your statements, and some of those statements have been sworn to. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And let's just look at the sworn statements, sworn testimony that you've given. You were asked, and I'm asking you today, are you familiar with Justin Smith's reputation there at organized crime?
Not too familiar since I only knew him 3 months.
Okay, we'll do it that way. Do you recall your sworn testimony when asked to describe Justin Smith's reputation in your opinion of him?
Very caring, laid back, and understanding.
And does kind and gentle ring a bell to you in front of the grand jury stating that about Justin Smith?
Yes, sir.
Was that your testimony?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
It's very similar to what you just said. I just want to make sure you did in fact testify that way about Justin Smith.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by kind and gentle? And did you say compassionate? What did you say?
Understanding.
Understanding. Describe for the jury what you mean by kind, gentle, and understanding.
Anytime I had a question or anything, I would always ask him. He wouldn't ask questions. He would just help me out at the best of his abilities. There was a time where I was probably going to be sent off of the team because I wasn't producing stats. So he told me to ride with him in his car for a couple of days so he can help me get on track to doing what the Scorpion team needs to do.
He also gave you some advice about what officers to stay away from, too, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Did you follow his advice?
Yes, sir.
May I have a moment with my client? John. John, I'll pass the witness. Very good. You can use it.
Good morning.
My name's John Beard. I'm here by Derek Bean. I think other than you, Mr. Bean would have been the newest member of the Scorpion unit. You were on the Scorpion unit, right?
Yes, sir. If I recall, he was only there a little bit longer than me.
About a month longer, yeah. And this is not asking you a series of questions. So I'm not going to go through all of that. I'll probably be here about 5 minutes. But I'm not asking before you sat down questions about how many different times you've talked, testified, etc. You've been pretty consistent, right?
Yes, sir.
You've been precisely consistent from day one about what happened, about your people on the team, right?
Yes, sir.
And part of that consistency, the questions weren't always as pleasant and laid out as Mr. Martin just asked, right?
Right, yes, sir.
And you've had an opportunity to talk with members of the DA's office, right?
Yes, sir.
And those communications were recorded, right?
Yes, sir.
Those communications were pleasant, and they just talked to you, asked questions, right?
Yes, sir.
There was no kind of browbeat, I'll call it, but was it?
Not too much, no, sir.
Yeah, it's a little bit different when you're across the street, right?
Yes, sir.
A little bit different when you're talking to the DOJ, right?
Yes, sir.
They try to, in particular, get you to change stories sometimes, right?
Yes, sir.
They use that same word, they browbeat you, remember, right?
You do see.
There was recorded transcript, 8 pages, where they tried to get you to change the fact that you heard somebody's hand on a gun, right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't change that, did you?
No, sir.
You also were asked questions during that same grand jury testimony regarding whether or not you knew Jadarius Bingham, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think you characterized that testimony, and tell me if I'm wrong, it didn't talk much.
Right, yes, sir.
Was he a pretty quiet guy?
Yes, sir.
And he said that he seemed like a good officer, right?
Yes, sir.
He said he was shy and just handled his business the right way.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
true? Anything about him, and you were asked specifically during that same inquiry where I was talking about the 8 pages where they took you to the ringer about whether or not you heard a gun, you said you stuck to it, I heard it, and found out you did hear it, right?
Yes, sir.
But when you're asked those questions regarding being issue specifically, have you ever known him to use excessive force? Did he have a reputation for using excessive force? Do you remember your answer?
Yes, sir.
What was that answer?
I don't recall any excessive force or anything used by Officer Bean.
You ever heard any kind of problems regarding his character and his reputation in the MPD?
No, sir.
That's it. Thought that was going to be a good testimony. Don't think that's enough, guys.
Hold up, I can make it happen to the story. I said I was going to be a few minutes, but it's going to be just a few minutes longer.
All right.
Do you remember going through an exercise with Memphis Police Department where they sprayed your face with pepper spray?
Yes, sir.
What happened during that? Can you kind of talk to us about what that exercise is?
So that exercise at the police academy, they spray you with your own pepper spray. And the whole point of the exercise is you got to work through it. You can't just give up. So during that, they ask you a series of questions like what's your license plate number? How long have you been in Memphis? After that, you have to, I believe it was, you had a training dummy laying on the ground. You have to try to handcuff him while you're still fighting pepper spray. And then there's also another training dummy where you have to do a few strikes to him. So also, you still got to keep working through this pepper spray.
You were asked a couple times about pepper spray and how strong. Now, on that night, back January 7, 2023, you're making a stop. You had been driving, correct?
Yes, sir.
And are you at night, have you always worn glasses since you've been driving?
Yes, sir.
And on that particular night, you had your glasses on?
Yes, sir.
And I remember you saying that you sprayed everybody, but yours hit the brow and up, right?
Yes, sir.
Did the brunt of it hit the eyeglasses during the time that he was spraying, if you remember?
If I remember, most of it hit my forehead and then it started going down.
So it wasn't directly in the eyes, in other words, right then, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, I remember on that night, you talked on your with your camera some 50-odd minutes. There were two different body-worn camera settings, and you talked for a long time, but it seemed like that whole time you were what I call hot, but you're clearing your voice, clearing your throat. Can you tell the jury why you had been clearing your throat and catching your breath during that time frame?
So the pepper spray that they used at the time, it blinded you, obviously, and it also affected your breathing and closed up your sinuses, hence, hacking up, because, you're trying to get it out of your system. And if any of it's in your nose, they also tell you in the academy, to breathe it out your nose. If there's anything in your mouth, you got to get it out.
When you get a burst of that in your eyes, is it possible to see as good as you can see right now?
No, sir.
Matter of fact, but for a few feet in front of you, can you see anything?
No, sir.
And on that particular night, do you remember the intersection?
Yes, sir.
Was there anybody out there stopping traffic and saying, hey, y'all stop, we got to run across this 4 lanes of traffic?
No, sir, not that I remember.
When we were running out there in the dark, basically, after having some pepper spray in your eyes?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was a pretty difficult experience.
Yes, sir.
Now, at the academy, you have to get it directly in your eyes, right?
Yes, sir.
Tyre does. Play. Y'all, maybe we approach. Just one question. I'm saying that night, and after the incident, you had at some point described it, that this was like bad Bob. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And what do you mean by fighting bad Bob? What's bad Bob?
So Bad Bob is a training exercise that they do at the police academy. Like I said, they pepper spray you, and it's drills that you have to do so that you already know how strong pepper spray is, if it gets in your eyes, and how to work through it.
And what did they ask you to do after being sprayed when you went to Bad Bob exercise? Talk me through it.
So after they spray you, they first tell you, because when they spray you, your eyes are closed, and they tell you, well, we want you to take a couple blinks, so that way it gets into your eyes, and they can tell when it hits. They then ask like a series of questions, like your license plate number, where are you at right now, how long have you been living in Memphis, and then after you answer a series of questions, they then tell you to go, I believe it was, do a couple strikes to a dummy, so that way you're fighting with the dummy while you're still blinded with pepper spray. After you do a good couple strikes, the team moves on to the next station, which is a trained dummy laying on the ground, and it's handcuffing the dummy also while you're blind.
It's difficult to handcuff it while you're blind.
Yes, sir.
And is it difficult as far as finding where that spot is even while you're blind?
Yes, sir.
And it is, according to what you said during that evening, that was pretty much similar to what you went through in actual real life that evening. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was that a typical type of evening where you had Texas pepper spray in your eye and had to run across 4 lanes of traffic?
No, sir.
And was that one of the most difficult interactions that you had while you were with the Memphis Police Department?
It was one of them, yes, sir.
And that was, and as you indicated, it put you all the way back in your frame of mind after being in the academy, having to deal with that law.
Yes, sir.
That's good, John.
I'm not gonna be too long, okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Like you said, I think you talked to a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
I think you talked once, is that right?
We spoke several times. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Something like that.
And you testified in a federal grand jury once, is that correct?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
I want to go back to the start. Like I said, I'm not trying to be long. I do want to go back to the start. Okay? And it made sense to me because often as police officers, it would make sense for you to say we. I mean, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's just how we do it. If you're going to write an affidavit or complaint about what somebody did, you would say the person observed do X, Y, and Z, but maybe other police officers that observe X, Y, and Z.
Yes, sir.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That is how it's supposed to work, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it's not uncommon for you to say we and stuff like that. I want to separate, what you actually saw versus, the we. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're on that night, and you said we saw Tyre Nichols speeding, but I won't take that far. Okay. Who is it that's also?
Officer Martin.
Okay. And you can ask the question before whether or not you actually saw Tyre Nichols speeding. Your truth now that it was also Martin that said he saw Tyre Nichols speeding. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were asked previously, so what did you actually see Tyre Nichols do? And your answer was it changed lanes without signaling.
Yes, sir.
Once or twice. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is a traffic violation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you see, how do you know that when Martin said, I see him speeding, is that on the radio or something?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear Officer Martin say on the radio, I see a car speeding or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Did you see at that point Officer Martin activate his blue lights?
A couple blocks up. Yes, sir.
Couple blocks up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this car is ahead of y'all,
Yes, sir.
and at this point is Martin ahead of you,
Yes, sir.
and you're further back.
Martin is ahead of me. I'm in the middle, and Haley's behind me.
And you haven't seen this car speeding,
No, sir.
but you've heard Martin say that.
Yes, sir.
You traveled some more blocks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to say a couple of feet, whichever one, a couple of feet, and Martin activates his blue lights.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't keep his blue lights on, though, does he?
No, sir.
He flips them on pretty quickly
Yes, sir.
and continues to travel
Yes,
right, for just a little bit, right?
Yes, sir.
And then he puts them on,
Yes, sir.
and then the car's continues to travel.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we watched the video before of, should I say, a videographer that did the round. Okay? But it sounds like it's not like him and Martin had the blue lights on the whole time during this route, right?
All right. Yes, sir.
Blue light click on. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but presumably the car that was speeding didn't stop.
All right. Yes,
Right?
sir.
Even if you couldn't see it, pretty obviously it didn't stop, right?
Yes, sir.
Click on blue lights, that car didn't stop. Click off blue lights.
Yes, sir.
And then at that point, what are y'all doing?
They were following Mr. Nichols.
They were following. Now they weren't pursuing him, were they?
No, sir.
It's against policy to pursue the car for that test, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so click blue lights on, Martin stop, click them off, and we're just gonna sort of follow the car.
Yes, sir.
That's sort of what's going on.
Yes, sir.
And while y'all are following the car, you see the car do a lane change once or twice without a consequence.
Yes, sir.
You never see the car going on the incoming traffic.
No, sir.
You never see a car hopping the curb or anything like that.
No, sir.
Y'all are just following it, catching back up to it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all do catch it.
Yes, sir.
And when y'all do catch back up to it, blue lights come on.
Yes, sir.
And y'all are in cars that are not, don't look like these cars, right?
No, sir.
They're like Dodge Chargers or something.
Yes, sir.
They're not marked or anything like that. They're probably black. They're black.
Mine was blue.
Dodge Chargers, the lights are even on the inside.
Yes, sir.
So just have a cancel.
And I believe it had lights inside the grill on the front of the car.
Go catch back up to the car, the blue lights back on.
Yes, sir.
Catch back up to the car's actually stopped, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And it's stopped in the left-hand turn lane.
Yes, sir.
With the left-hand turn signal on.
I don't recall the turn signal on.
Left-hand turn.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Stop.
Yes, sir.
And this is the point where traffic stop actually will be watched again, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now you've been
So they admit to basically tailgating him for a while and watching him, basically stalking him.
asked about this traffic stop a bunch.
Yes, sir.
Now, fair say, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you ever see, you've been asked questions before, did you ever see Tyre Nichols take a swing at anybody during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
No, sir. Did you ever see him punch somebody during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Did you ever see him kick anybody during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Did he ever cuss at y'all during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Did he ever spit at y'all during the traffic stop?
No, sir. Not that I know of. No, sir. Not that I know of.
In fact, you actually described what he did as politely resisting.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And you've been previously asked, well, what did y'all do, right?
Yes, sir.
You get out of the car with your gun drawn, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then you put it on.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? At some point during this conversation, you press the taser up to his leg or something.
Yes, sir.
But at that point, the electricity is not on.
Correct.
I'm not trying to say you take it.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you just have the taser and press up.
Yes, sir.
You say something to the akin to, I'm going to take your ass or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Who says, I'm going to break your shit?
I believe that was Officer Haley.
So take your ass, I'm going to break your shit. He has been, that was not the right word. How was he taking you there?
I don't know how he's taking the ground. I just know we wrong.
You saw him, he was taken out of the car.
Yes, sir.
So he's taken out of the car, would you say forcefully?
Yes, sir.
You told an officer on the scene that he was persuaded to get out of the car.
Yes, sir.
Persuaded to me sounds like there was a negotiation. You know, ultimately he was persuaded to get out of the car. But he wasn't persuaded.
So here he goes. He lies under oath. Again, we're still trying to figure out why this officer was not charged. We already know that he maced. Now, again, he lies. Okay? So let's just finish listening.
No, sir.
He was forcefully taken to the car.
Yes, sir.
On the ground.
Yes, sir.
He is being yelled at.
Yes, sir.
He is being threatened.
Yes, sir.
And you do have a taser weapon up to his thigh.
Yes, sir.
And he is also got restrained.
Not yet at that point.
Something like this.
Yes, sir.
Something like this.
Yes, sir.
Before he runs off.
Yes, sir.
And that's actually that's the point going up to the point he runs off. You've been asked previously, well, is it possible that all of that stuff, all those actions, is what made Tyre Nichols not elected?
Objection, also speculation.
He's been asked this question previously. In his practice.
If I can have the attorney further.
Yes, sir.
Threatened to break a ship, correct?
Yes, sir.
Threatened to tase his ass.
Yes, sir.
Pepper spray.
Yes, sir.
Instrumentation.
Yes, sir.
You heard Officer Martin say something in other words. Well, what did you hear Officer Martin say when Tyre was being forced to remove the car?
To let go of his gun.
To let go of his gun.
Yes, sir.
And to be clear, you're asking questions. I knew that was for you. You didn't hear anybody
Correct.
you didn't hear a hand hitting the metal or something.
Right, correct.
You heard Officer Martin say.
Let go with my gun.
That is another phrase. That's another phrase that officer used a lot. Stop resisting. Get down. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. And he's going for my gun, or he got a gun. These are like the 4 to 5 phrases that I believe they're trained to say repetitively to get on camera. And that's just my assumption.
Nichols, grab this guy.
No, sir.
You just heard Mark say that.
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether or not Tyre Nichols actually grabbed this guy?
No, sir.
Did you in fact speak with Officer Martin after this incident?
Yes, sir.
Did that cause you more doubt as to whether or not Tyre Nichols actually grabbed this guy?
No, sir. I was just asking Martin if I heard what I thought I heard.
Was reference made that it could have been something just tugging on his belt?
Later on, Martin did say that.
Which is entirely different, right?
Yes, sir.
In the perspective of the officer, supposed to be justification on how much force they use. So this man allegedly changed his testimony. His fellow officer said, "Oh, it could have been something just tugging on my belt." But you were yelling probably from the top of your lungs, "He's getting my gun. He's touching my gun." Do y'all see how we lose confidence in these type of situations and the officers' behavior? Just lose confidence.
Tyre was thrown on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And how this all went so forceful, you admit it's forceful,
Yes, sir.
so quick,
Yes, sir.
with an individual who testified before wasn't even fighting at all, correct?
Yes, sir.
You describe him as resisting, to be fair, correct?
Yes, sir.
You describe it as polite resistance, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you were very clear that you would not consider that fighting.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yet he was threatened, yet he was pepper spraying. And as he ran off, he was hit the taser, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you never went from there to the scene of the criminal activity, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
However, when we watched it, we heard you tell somebody, "I hope they stomp his ass."
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
You regret that.
Yes, sir.
If we watch more video later, we see another comment about Tyre's face and how he looks after this happens, correct?
Yes, sir.
You regret that comment too?
Yes, sir.
But would you acknowledge that I hope they stomp his ass? There's something to that.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard in this police department of the term or the phrase or the concept of, some sort of street cops or some sort of street justice or something that runs for police?
Not just for police. Yes, sir.
More generally, yeah, not just
police in general.
You grew up like a police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've heard it.
Yes, sir.
Right. You described or have you described before, have you heard it, especially from older officers?
Yes, sir.
I think you told me, I think you may say that officers that don't want to go to cars.
Right. Yes,
It's like old school, you hear them talking about the street cops.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Yes, sir. Nowadays, it's not talked about in terms of street cops.
Yes, sir.
Is there talk among the officers though that if somebody runs and you hit them, that is a chance to get one punch?
Possibly. Yes, sir.
Do you want to try to get in more than one punch?
No, sir.
Why not?
If it is too much.
One punch is justice for running.
No, sir.
Well, what is it?
Just put handcuffs on.
Just put handcuffs.
Keep them under control. Yes, sir.
Well, prior you've been asked if somebody runs, correct?
Yes, sir.
That is common for officers or not common? And sometimes officers try to get a little, hold your word, street justice.
Yes, sir.
And you have acknowledged that one punch may be, I don't want to say acceptable, but let's say acceptable.
Possibly. Yes, sir.
And you know what, guys? This is exactly what I used to argue with my uncle about and had these type of conversations. And I used to ask him why. Oh, he ran. He made me work. This is not just in this police department. This is a national tone across different police sectors because my uncle wasn't a regular street cop. He was a fed. This is something that's a normal tone. Wow.
for more than one punch on a subject.
Yes, sir.
And I think even we talked, a punch can also.
Y'all know I love my uncle. The people who watch, I love my uncle. All my series are dedicated to him. Not to, dishonor the dead, but it's real is real. These are the conversations we had. It was a little ridiculous.
We call pieces, right? A piece.
Yes, sir.
So one piece, a lot of pieces though.
Right. Yes, sir.
Ultimately, you watched that Sky Cop video, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Is that the stomping that you were hoping for?
No, sir.
Is that beyond anything?
Sir, can you repeat?
Is that beyond anything you were hoping for?
Yes, sir.
That's all, Judge.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
You talked, Mr. Hackman just asked you about Officer Martin seeing the police on Central of the speed picture, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you relied on that to initiate the stop, or participate in initiating the stop, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even though you hadn't seen speeding at that point.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct? If you did see traffic violations by that police on Central? No, this is his witness. What traffic violations did you see the police on Central engaging on the river?
Fleeing from the police and multiple lane changes without limits.
And did you see the traffic violations by the Central on lanes after the turn?
No, sir.
You were asked by Mr. Subak about your speed and looking at your speedometer while watching video. Yes, you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what speed you reached on the lanes?
About 60 miles an hour.
And your body-worn camera showed Garmin, which you added, which was correct.
Yes, sir.
What does the Garmin, what does it show when you're exceeding the speed limit?
It turns bright red in the bottom left corner.
Now, Demetrius Haley used soft anti-hands control as part of that stop.
Yes, sir.
When?
When you pulled Mr. Nichols out of the car.
And did you hear Emmett Martin say, I felt somebody tug on my belt during the traffic stop?
Later on, yes, sir.
During the traffic stop, what did you hear Martin say?
Let go with my gun.
And you reacted to that?
Yes, sir.
At traffic stop, did he ever say anything about tugging on his belt?
No, sir.
And is what was said during the stop, correct?
Yes, sir.
You had to train to assess the threat at the time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Again, Judge, I think you missed the witness, and this is the.
Okay, any further questions?
That's it.
You asked a moment ago about you growing up wanting to be a police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
And you had family members high up in the police department, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you ended up reaching that goal as a police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know the term street taxes, Mr. Hackman asked you months ago.
Yes, sir.
And you also were asked questions about having officers across the street at the federal building, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you talked across the street at the federal building, like you said, he asked you something about testifying one time in front of the grand jury, right?
Yes, sir.
You actually met over there a number of times, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were asked times and again, about being in relation to street tax. As well as everybody else on that was part of the book, right? Yes, sir. And am I correct in your statement that you've never heard Mr. Bean referred to as street tax? Right. Yes, sir. And you've never heard Mr. Bean administering a street tax to anybody, right? Yes, sir. And in fact, you were asked questions about seeing videos, and you saw videos actually over at 302, and gave a statement, I guess called a 302, like, you know what a 302 is? You don't. No, sir. All right. You did give statements to the feds, to the federal, I guess the Department of Justice, and members of the U.S. Attorney's Office. You remember that? Yes, sir. And you might not, if you haven't seen them, don't worry about it. But did you ever see a typed up form of the statements that you gave? Not that I recall. All right. Do you remember that you were eventually shown videos regarding the incident? Yes, sir. Now, when you were first asked questions, you weren't shown any videos, right? Not that I recall. No, sir. Right. But when they did show you videos, you said to yourself that it looked like Mr. Bean was just trying to get him into handcuffs, right? Yes, sir. And you, according to what you said at that time, said that it didn't seem like he's doing anything wrong when you're looking at the video, correct? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what points the videos are talking about. He wasn't doing anything wrong. We're talking about the point of the video when Mr. Smith pressing Mr. Nichols down and Mr. Martin soccer face started.
They weren't talking about Mr. Parker.
So they were just asking about the movements.
I was talking about Mr. Perry, was only asking about Mr. Bean.
Soccer face wrong.
Yes, sir.
All those hits that's wrong.
Yes, sir.
Those hits after everybody around wrong.
Yes, sir.
Just want to highlight, don't say that they were doing right now. He like, wait. What was right? All right. So this is where we're going to stop this segment of the video, where you saw two officers basically testify against their other partners, the Goon Gang. This gentleman right here, as we mentioned, Mr. Hempt Hill, was not charged, and I was trying to figure out why he was not charged, and I'm a little confused. I don't think that he should be charged for murder, but I do think he should be charged with excessive force and other things that he did tremendously wrong, like tased them, fought him, batoned him, all types of stuff. And he admitted that there's pressure that comes from the police station that we all know but don't want to admit. And that's one of our angles here, not to only highlight what the police did wrong, but how they're mentally suffering in the process of them hiding dirty deeds, them being forced to be put in situations where dirty deeds happen. And basically now in some instance suffering the consequences. So the first officer, Mills, is trying to evade a life sentence, and by him testifying, he is basically helping the officers, his fellow officers, get prosecuted for murder and get some time taken off of his sentence. From what they said, if he testifies correctly, the judge may sentence him to a max of 15 years. So this is the end of part one. You see both of the officers' testimony. We're going to go into a little bit of the evidence in our next release, where we're going to look at the medical examiner, what they say. That gets me a little bit aggravated as I watch from the perspective of a mother, a Black community member, as well as a legal nursing consultant. Okay, so what they're doing is what I do in the background. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert witness, but I am able to get the paperwork together and do the research. That is the level that I'm at within the legal nursing consultant field. You know, I have not testified in court, but I am a great researcher. So that's what we do here. So if you like my commentary, I kept it to a minimum for these videos, and you like what I'm sharing, please hit the like button. We did condense the video enough to get a majority of the testimony in that was significant. And I think this helped the audience member see what's going on in the Tyre Nichols case. So until our next video, I want to say thank you so much for being here with me. You've been amazing. And I'll see you in our next video. Let's go.
I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long. I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing's perfect for anybody.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
The real estate market often seems like a distant world where only an elite of experts is successful. In a time of so much uncertainty in the air and bad news, realist investing can seem intimidating. But today, I want to tell you that if you make the right decision today, you can enter the real estate market from the back door. Bad credit record? No credit at all? Do you dread the idea of having a home loan? Do you dream of owning investment properties? You are in the right place and right time, because we have created a program which is a tax lien and deed investment online course of only 14 hours. This course is specially designed for people like you who have big dreams. You will learn at your own pace and everything from your home computer. This is your chance. Join our membership for $19.99 a year. What are you waiting for? Visit our website primetimehomebuyerBuyback.org and sign up today for course access.